3 days after meeting the Nayari, Kim Dae returned to his fishing spot. Dark clouds gathered on the horizon. The air felt heavy with coming rain. Most fishermen stayed home on days like this, but Kim knew storms often brought good fishing before they hit. As he approached his usual area, he noticed something strange in the water. His nets, which he had left marked with buoys, were gone. In their place was a swirling disturbance, like a whirlpool, but moving in the wrong direction. Kim cut his engine and watched. The disturbance grew larger. Water bubbled and churned as if boiling from below. Then, with a surge of displaced water, a Nayari vessel broke the surface, larger than the one he had seen before. This ship was the size of a small ferry, with pulsing lights along its sides. It hovered just above the waves, water streaming from its smooth surface. Kim noticed the damage immediately. A section of the hull was dented and one of the light panels flickered unevenly. A hatch opened on top of the vessel. Park Sun, the science officer he had met before, emerged and spotted him. "Kim Dae," she called, her voice carrying over the water. "Your presence is fortunate." Kim guided his boat closer. "You destroyed my nets," he said, pointing to scraps of fishing net caught on the Nayari ship's underside. Park Sun's skin rippled with blue patterns that Kim guessed meant embarrassment. "We encountered difficulties with the underwater currents. They were not as our charts predicted." Kim looked at the sky, then at the choppy water. "Big storm coming. The deep currents always change before storms." Another Nayari emerged from the hatch. Not Navigator Tae or Security Officer June, but someone new. This one was taller, with skin that shimmered mostly green. "Science Officer, why are you speaking with this human?" the new Nayari demanded. "Chief Engineer Min, this is Kim Dae. He has extensive knowledge of local water conditions," Park Sun explained. Kim pointed to their damaged hull. "Your ship is hurt. The storm will make it worse. You should go to deeper water or back to shore." Chief Engineer Min's skin flashed red. "Our vessel is perfectly capable of withstanding your planet's weather patterns." As if to prove him wrong, a large wave crashed against the ship, making it tilt. More Nayari appeared from below, working frantically to stabilize their vessel. "Park." Sun turned to Kim. "Our main propulsion system was damaged when we hit an unexpected current shift. We are making repairs, but..." A crack of thunder interrupted her. The storm was moving faster than normal. Kim looked up at the darkening sky with concern. "This is not a normal storm," he said. "The air pressure dropped too fast. It will be very bad." Chief Engineer Min dismissed this with a wave. "Our weather monitoring systems are far superior to your human senses. This is a minor atmospheric disturbance." Kim didn't argue. Instead, he secured his boat and began pulling up his anchor. "Where are you going?" Park Sun asked. "To the sea cave on the south side of White Rock Island," Kim replied. "It's the best shelter around here. You should follow." Chief Engineer Min's colors shifted to a deep purple. "We do not need shelter from a primitive Earth storm." Kim shrugged. "Your choice, good luck." He started his engine. Park Sun watched him for a moment, then turned to the chief engineer. "The damage to our propulsion system is worse than you reported. If this storm intensifies, return to your station, Science Officer," Min ordered. Park Sun hesitated, then made a decision. "Kim Dae," she called out. "May I join your vessel? I wish to observe your traditional storm navigation techniques." This surprised both Kim and the chief engineer. Before Min could object, Park Sun had climbed down the side of the Nayari ship and leapt nimbly onto Kim's fishing boat. "This is unauthorized," Chief Engineer Min shouted over the rising wind. "I will report my observations upon return, Park," Sun replied calmly. Kim said nothing. He simply turned his boat toward White Rock Island as the first heavy raindrops began to fall. The storm hit with unexpected force. Waves grew to 6 meters, crashing over Kim's small boat. Rain fell in blinding sheets. Most modern boats would have been equipped with GPS and radar, but Kim relied on old methods, watching wave patterns, feeling wind shifts, and remembering landmarks. Park Sun watched in silence as Kim navigated through the chaos. Her skin had taken on a pale blue color that seemed to indicate anxiety. "Your species fears water," Kim said as he turned the boat to ride with a massive wave rather than fight against it. "Not fear," Park Sun corrected. "We respect it as a force to be controlled." Kim laughed. "The ocean cannot be controlled. Only understood." A massive wave rose before them, threatening to capsize the boat. But instead of trying to avoid it, Kim turned directly into it, timing his approach perfectly. The boat rose up the face of the wave and crested it smoothly. "How did you know to do that?" Park Sun asked, her colors brightening with curiosity. "The wave tells you how to ride it. You just need to listen," Kim replied. Through sheets of rain they spotted White Rock Island, a small rocky outcrop with a distinctive white stone formation. Kim navigated toward the south side, where a hidden opening led to a sea cave. As they approached, Park Sun's communication device activated. "Science officer, report your status," came Navigator Tay's voice, broken by static. "I am safe with the human fisherman," she replied. "Our vessel has lost control," Tay interrupted. "The storm has pushed us toward shallow rocks." Chief Engineer Min miscalculated. Kim heard this and immediately changed course. "Where are they?" he asked Park Sun. She showed him a small holographic display on her wrist device. A blinking light showed the Nyari vessel's location, dangerously close to a submerged reef Kim knew well. "They will hit the dragon's teeth," he said grimly, referring to the local name for the sharp underwater rocks. Without hesitation, Kim steered away from the safety of the cave and back into the storm. Park Sun's skin turned almost white with surprise. "You're going to help them? After they dismissed your warning?" Kim focused on navigating the increasingly dangerous waves. "The ocean doesn't care about pride. Neither do I." When they reached the Nyari vessel, the situation was dire. The ship was caught in a cycling current, being pushed repeatedly against the submerged rocks. Sparks flew from its damaged hull. Kim positioned his boat carefully, using the current, to maintain a stable position nearby. He took out a bright emergency flare and fired it into the air. "Tell them to follow my light exactly," he instructed Park Sun. "The safe channel is very narrow." Park Sun relayed this to Navigator Tay. There was a long pause before the reply came. "Commander Zalon has been informed of the situation," Tay said. "We will follow the human's guidance." Slowly, with Kim using hand signals and more flares to mark the way, he guided the damaged Nyari ship through the treacherous waters. His knowledge of every rock and current in the area allowed him to find a path where their sensors saw only danger. As they approached the sea cave, a massive wave hit the Nyari vessel from the side. One of the Nyari, Security Officer June, was washed overboard into the churning sea. Without hesitation, Kim threw off his jacket and dove into the water. The Nyari were supposed to be aquatic beings, but June struggled in the chaotic storm. Surge, clearly injured from the fall, Kim swam with powerful strokes honed by decades in the water. He reached June and supported him, fighting against the current to bring him back to the fishing boat. Park Sun helped pull them both aboard. June's skin was a dull gray. The water, too violent, couldn't stabilize. He gasped. "Even fish get tossed in storms," Kim said as he wrapped a blanket around the shivering alien. They finally reached the sea cave, a large natural harbor protected from the storm. The Nyari vessel limped in behind them, its lights dim and systems clearly struggling. As the storm raged outside, Kim built a small fire on the stone ledge inside the cave. The Nyari crew emerged from their damaged vessel, including Navigator Tay and Chief Engineer Min, whose skin now showed subdued colors. "Kim Day," Navigator Tay said formally. "You saved our vessel and crew when you had no obligation to do so. We are in your debt." Kim shrugged as he prepared hot tea on his small camping stove. "The sea is dangerous for everyone. We all help each other here." Chief Engineer Min approached slowly. "Our advanced systems failed to predict the storm's intensity or map the underwater terrain accurately. How did you navigate so perfectly without technology?" Kim handed cups of steaming tea to the Nyari, My grandfather taught me. His grandfather taught him. We have known these waters for many generations. Park's son, who had been quietly observing, finally spoke. This is what I've been trying to explain in my reports. These humans have a different kind of knowledge, one that our sensors and computers don't capture. Outside the cave, the storm continued to howl, but inside, gathered around the small fire, something shifted between the humans and the Nayari. For the first time, the aliens looked at Kim not with dismissal, but with genuine curiosity. Perhaps, Navigator Tay said slowly, we have more to learn about Earth's oceans than we initially thought. Kim smiled slightly as he sipped his tea. The first real connection had been made. The blue morning sky broke open with light. Not sunlight, but something else. Something that made the birds stop singing and the dogs start barking. Kim Day looked up from his fishing nets and squinted. 7 massive ships hung in the air above Seoul. They looked like giant silver jellyfish with long tentacles that glowed blue and green. News alerts buzzed on phones across the country, but Kim's old flip phone remained silent. He didn't need technology to tell him something big was happening. Aliens, whispered Han, a younger fisherman working nearby. They're saying aliens have come to Earth. Kim Day nodded slowly. At 67 years old, with skin as weathered as his boat, he had seen many strange things on the ocean, but nothing like this. Better finish the nets, he said simply. Fish don't care about aliens. 3 days later, the world learned why the visitors had come. They called themselves the Nayari, and they had conquered water worlds across the galaxy. Earth, with its vast oceans, was next on their list. Commander Zalan, the Nayari leader, addressed the United Nations from a floating platform in New York Harbor. His skin shimmered like the inside of a seashell. His voice sounded like water flowing over stones. Your oceans are primitive and unexplored, he said. You have barely touched their depths. We will establish our colonies underwater where you rarely go. This is not a request. This is simply information. World leaders argued and threatened. Military ships moved into position near major ports. Fighter jets patrolled coastal cities, but the Nayari ships didn't attack. They simply drifted out to sea and disappeared beneath the waves. In his small fishing village on Korea's southern coast, Kim Day watched the news on the community TV in Old Moon Cafe. They say these aliens have conquered 12 water planets, said the cafe owner Choi. They can breathe underwater and control currents. No one controls currents, Kim said, finishing his barley tea. The ocean listens to no one. The other fishermen nodded in agreement. They had all fought the sea their whole lives and knew its power. The military says stay away from deep water for now, Choi continued. They're worried about these alien scout ships. Kim Day stood up and put some coins on the table. The good fishing spots are all in deep water, he said, and my grandson needs new shoes for school. The next morning, while other fishing boats stayed close to shore, Kim's small wooden vessel headed out to his favorite spot. The place had given his family fish for 3 generations. His father had shown it to him, and his grandfather had shown it to his father. The spot wasn't marked on any map. You had to know how to find it by looking at the shape of the distant mountains, feeling the way the currents pulled, and watching how the seabirds flew. Kim Day could find it with his eyes closed. As his boat cut through the early morning mist, Kim noticed something strange. The usual seagulls were missing. The water felt different too, warmer than it should be. 5 kilometers out, he saw why. A sleek, dark shape moved just below the surface. It was about the size of a subway car, but shaped like a manta ray. Soft blue lights pulsed along its edges. Nayari, Kim muttered to himself. He reduced his boat's speed but didn't turn around. The alien vessel was in his fishing spot. Kim Day had faced storms, rival fishermen, and patrol boats in these waters. He wasn't going to let aliens scare him away. The Nayari ship suddenly broke the surface, water cascading off its smooth hull. It hovered just above the waves. A panel slid open, and 3 figures emerged. They stood about as tall as humans but were clearly not human. Their bodies were slender with wide chests. Their skin changed colors like the inside of an abalone shell, blues, greens, and purples shifting with every movement. They had no hair, and their eyes were large and dark. without any white parts. Kim Day cut his engine. His boat drifted closer to the alien vessel. "This sector is being surveyed," one of the Nayari called out in perfect Korean. "Return to shore." Kim pointed to the water around them. "This is my fishing area," he replied. "My family has fished here for 100 years. The three Nayari looked at each other. They seemed surprised that the human hadn't immediately fled. "You do not understand?" said the same Nayari, who appeared to be the leader. "We are mapping the thermal gradients and current patterns of your ocean. Your presence will interfere with our readings." Kim Day scratched his chin. "The currents here change 3 times a day. Right now there's a cold stream about 15 meters down that comes from the north. In 2 hours it will shift east. By afternoon, it'll be gone." The Nayari leader tilted his head. "How do you know this?" "I feel it," Kim said, tapping his chest. "And I see it in how the water moves." The second Nayari, smaller than the others, stepped forward. "Commander, our sensors are confirming what he says. There is indeed a cold current at that exact depth moving in the direction he indicated." The commander frowned. "A lucky guess." Kim Day shrugged and began preparing his nets. "Lucky or not, I need to catch fish today. You can study your water while I work. The ocean is big enough for both of us." The third Nayari whispered something to the commander, who nodded sharply. "Human, what is your designation?" the commander asked. "My name is Kim Day. Kim Day, I am First Navigator Tai. This is Science Officer Park Sun," he said, gesturing to the smaller Nayari, "and Security Officer June." Kim nodded politely. "Nice to meet you. Now, if you'll excuse me, the fish are waiting." Park Sun stepped closer to the edge of their vessel. "Your methods interest me. Our scans show your boat has no subsurface scanning technology. How do you locate fish?" Kim pointed to his eyes, then his nose, then his hands. "I look, I smell, I feel." "Impossible," said June, the security officer. "The ocean is too vast, too complex." Kim smiled slightly. "That's why you need all those machines, and I don't." For the next hour, Kim Day worked his nets while the Nayari watched. He moved with the precision of someone who had performed these actions thousands of times. When he pulled in his first catch, the net was heavy with silver fish. Park Sun's skin flashed with bright patterns of surprise. He found a school exactly where he cast his net, without any technology. "Coincidence," said Navigator Tay. "Or perhaps the fish in this region are simply abundant." "They weren't abundant yesterday," Kim said as he sorted his catch. "And they won't be here tomorrow. They're following the squid that came through here 3 days ago." Park Sun's colors rippled with excitement. "Navigator, his knowledge of local ecosystem behaviors appears extensive. This contradicts our assessment that humans have only a surface understanding of their oceans." Kim laughed. "Your people must not talk to many fishermen." Just then, a message came through to the Nayari vessel. Navigator Tay listened, then turned to his companions. "Commander Zalon has requested our presence. The humans are proposing some kind of diplomatic meeting." He looked at Kim Day. "We must leave now." Kim nodded. "The fish are starting to go deeper. Anyway, the big trawlers from Busan scare them with their engines." As the Nayari prepared to depart, Park Sun approached the edge of their vessel again. "Kim Day, how many generations has your family fished these waters?" "My father, his father before him, maybe 15 generations that we know of." Park Sun's skin turned a thoughtful blue. "That is interesting. We have conquered ocean worlds where the native species had evolved in water for millions of years. Yet they did not understand their environments as you seem to." Kim shrugged. "Maybe they tried to fight the ocean. You can't fight it. You have to listen to it." The Nayari vessel hummed as it prepared to submerge. Navigator Tay gave Kim a final look. "The Nayari have mastered the oceans of 12 worlds. Earth's waters will soon join that list." Kim Day didn't respond. He simply watched as the sleek vessel slipped beneath the waves, leaving barely a ripple behind. Then he turned his boat toward home, his nets full, thinking that these aliens had much to learn about Earth's oceans. And perhaps, one day soon, he would be the one to teach them. News of Kim Dae's rescue of the Nayari ship spread quickly, first through the fishing village, then across the country, and finally around the world. People shared videos taken from distant shores of the small fishing boat guiding the alien vessel through the storm. Kim didn't care for the attention. The morning after the storm, he simply checked his boat for damage and prepared to go fishing again. As he worked on his nets at the small harbor, a sleek black car pulled up. A woman in a government uniform stepped out. "Mr. Kim," she said with a bow, "I am Agent Joe from the Special Diplomatic Office. I need you to come with me." Kim looked at his half-repaired nets. "I have work to do." "This is a matter of global security," Agent Joe insisted. "The Nayari have specifically asked for you." Before Kim could respond, another voice called his name. He turned to see his daughter walking quickly toward them. Lee Ji was 40 years old, with her father's determined eyes and practical manner. Unlike Kim, she had left the village to study marine biology at a university in Seoul. Now she was a respected scientist who studied ocean currents and their effects on fish populations. "Dad," she said, hugging him briefly. "They called me too." Kim nodded, understanding. If his daughter was involved, this must be important. "Let me get my good jacket," he said. The meeting took place at a naval base near Busan. Representatives from 20 countries sat around a large table. At one end were 5 Nayari, including Navigator Tae and Science Officer Park Sun. At the other end sat the human representatives, with Kim and his daughter among them. Commander Zalon, the Nayari leader, spoke first. His voice was deeper than the other Nayari, and his skin shifted with patterns of gold and blue. "For the past week we have studied your oceans," he said. "We have found them suitable for our colony needs." A human diplomat responded. "Earth's governments cannot accept alien colonization of our waters without agreement on terms." Commander Zalon's skin flashed with patterns that suggested amusement. "You misunderstand. We are not asking permission. We are simply informing you of our plans." Tension filled the room. Some diplomats whispered about military options. Others suggested economic threats. Then Park Sun stepped forward. "Commander, if I may speak?" Commander Zalon nodded. "Our initial assessment of human understanding of Earth's oceans may have been incorrect," she said. Her skin changed to show formal patterns as she told the story of the storm and Kim's rescue of their vessel. "This human-navigated waters our sensors could not map accurately. He predicted weather patterns our systems failed to calculate," she concluded. Commander Zalon considered this. "One exceptional human does not change our assessment of your species' capabilities." The Admiral of the Korean Navy stood up. "Then perhaps a demonstration is in order." All eyes turned to him. "A challenge," the Admiral continued, "to prove humans understand Earth's oceans better than you think." Commander Zalon's colors shifted to a deep purple. "What kind of challenge?" "A navigation test through the most dangerous waters on Korea's coast," the Admiral suggested. "Your most advanced vessel against a human boat." The Nayari commander laughed, a sound like bubbles rising in water. "This would be no contest. Our technology is superior in every way." Kim, who had been silent until now, spoke up. "Not every way." The room went quiet. Kim wasn't used to speaking in front of important people, but he continued anyway. "Your ships are faster and stronger," he said. "But they don't know our waters. They don't feel the soul of the ocean." Commander Zalon stared at Kim. "The ocean has no soul, human. It is simply hydrogen and oxygen with salt compounds." Kim shook his head. "That's why you got caught in the storm." The commander's colors flashed with irritation. "Very well. We accept this challenge. When we win, you will acknowledge our right to establish colonies in your deepest ocean regions." The human representatives looked nervous, but the Admiral nodded. "And if we win, you will agree to negotiate properly for any presence in Earth's waters." "Who will represent humans in this challenge?" Commander Zalon asked. All eyes turned to Kim. Kim looked surprised. "I'm just a fisherman." His daughter touched his arm. "The best fisherman on the coast, Dad. And I'll help you." Park Sun stepped forward again. "Commander, I request to observe this challenge directly." Commander Zalon considered this. "Granted. You will be on our vessel to document our victory. The challenge was set for 3 days later. The course would run through the Mingold Channel, known for its unpredictable currents and dangerous whirlpools. Ships had been lost there for centuries. Kim spent those 3 days preparing his boat and studying the latest weather reports with his daughter. The Nayari ship is impressive, Li Ji told him as they checked the engine. It can manipulate water, pressure, and create bubbles around itself to reduce friction. Kim nodded. Fancy tricks, but tricks don't matter when the sea gets angry. On the morning of the challenge, crowds gathered on the shore. News helicopters hovered overhead. The world was watching. The Nayari vessel arrived first, a streamlined craft that looked like a cross between a submarine and a manta ray. It hovered just above the water, its surface shimmering with a rainbow of colors. Kim's wooden fishing boat looked ancient in comparison. Some people in the crowd laughed at the difference. Li Ji stood beside her father at the wheel. She had brought some scientific equipment, a depth finder, a weather radar, and a current meter, but Kim barely glanced at them. Will you use any of these? She asked. Kim smiled slightly. Maybe. But first I'll use these. He tapped his eyes, then his ears, then his hands. Navigator Tay approached in a smaller Nayari craft. The rules are simple, he announced. Both vessels must pass through the Mingold Channel and reach White Rock Island. The first to arrive wins. Kim noticed Park Sun watching from the main Nayari vessel. Her colors seemed more subdued than the others. The starting signal flashed and the race began. The Nayari ship shot forward with incredible speed, skimming just above the water. Kim's boat moved at a steady pace, following a route that seemed to take it away from the direct path. Dad, they're going straight through, Li Ji said, pointing at her radar screen. Kim nodded. They would, that's the obvious way. Instead of following, Kim guided his boat along the coastline before turning toward a section of rough water that most captains avoided. The currents split here, he explained. Under the water, there's a canyon. If we time it right, the eastern flow will carry us through faster than any engine. Li Ji checked her instruments. You're right. There's a strong subsurface current exactly where you're heading. Kim smiled. I didn't need a machine to tell me that. My father showed me this path when I was 12. From their vantage point on the Korean naval vessel following the race, government officials watched with concern. The Nayari ship was far ahead, moving at 3 times the speed of Kim's boat. We're going to lose, one official said. The admiral watched through binoculars. Don't be so sure, the channel hasn't shown its teeth yet. As if on cue, the weather began to change. Dark clouds formed with unusual speed over the channel. The water grew choppy. In the Nayari vessel, Commander Zalon directed his crew with confidence. Activate the current dispersal system, he ordered. We'll create a smooth path through this disturbance. Their technology sent pulses through the water, temporarily pushing aside the conflicting currents to create a tunnel of calm water ahead of them. Park Sun studied the readings on their monitors. Commander, there's something unusual about the seafloor topology ahead. The currents are behaving strangely. Our systems can handle any current pattern, Commander Zalon said dismissively. Meanwhile, Kim had reached the mouth of the channel. Instead of fighting the growing waves, he used them, riding each one to gain speed while burning minimal fuel. Li Ji watched her father with growing respect. The scientific instruments confirmed what he already knew. There was a perfect path through the chaos, if you knew how to find it. How can you predict the wave pattern so accurately? She asked. Kim pointed to the water. Look at the color changes. See how the dark blue meets the lighter blue? That's where the cold current hits the warm one. The waves always form the same pattern there. As they moved deeper into the channel, they could see the Nayari vessel ahead. It was still in the lead, but its smooth progress had faltered. It bobbed and weaved as it encountered increasingly complex current patterns. They're trying to force their way through, Kim observed. The sea doesn't like to be forced. Just then, a massive underwater current, one that appeared only a few times each year when conditions were exactly right, began to form beneath the Nayari ship. Their sensors detected it too late. The alien vessel suddenly dropped, caught in a powerful downdraft pulling it toward the depths. "What's happening?" Li Ji asked, pointing at the struggling ship. "Dragon's breath," Kim said. "A downward current that can pull even large ships under. The channel is showing its true power now." On the Nayari vessel, alarms blared as they fought against the unexpected force. "Full power to upward thrusters," Commander Zalon ordered. But the current was too strong. Their technology, designed to work with water, couldn't overcome this natural force they hadn't properly understood. Park Sun turned to the commander. "The human boat is approaching. They're on a different path. One our sensors didn't identify as navigable." Commander Zalon watched through the viewport as Kim's simple would-be. The Nayari vessel struggled against the powerful downward current. Warning lights flashed across its control panels. The ship's engines whined as they pushed against the force of the water. "All power to vertical thrusters," Commander Zalon ordered. His skin had turned a dark purple with stress. The ship shuddered. It stopped sinking but couldn't break free from the current's grip. "Commander, our energy reserves are dropping fast," one of the crew reported. "We cannot maintain this output for more than 20 minutes. Park Sun studied the readings on her console. "The current is part of a cycle. If we wait, it might weaken." "We don't have time to wait," Commander Zalon said sharply. "We are losing the challenge." Through the viewport, they could see Kim's boat moving steadily through the channel. It wasn't fighting the currents but working with them, following a path that seemed to make no sense until you saw how the water moved. Commander Zalon made a difficult decision. Signal the human vessel. Request assistance. On Kim's boat, Li Ji received the distress signal. "Dad, the Nayari are stuck in the dragon's breath current. They're asking for help." Kim nodded, not surprised. He had been watching the alien ship's struggles. "They tried to part the water instead of reading it," he said. He turned the boat toward the trapped vessel. As they approached, Li Ji used her equipment to measure the current's strength. "It's too powerful for us to enter safely," she warned. "We could get pulled down too." Kim studied the water patterns around the Nayari ship. "Watch the surface," he told his daughter. "See how it forms a circle? The current moves in a spiral. There's a safe path if you follow the outer edge." Li Ji looked at her instruments, then at the water. Slowly, she began to see what her father saw. Subtle patterns in the way the waves formed, tiny color differences in the water. "I see it," she said with wonder. "My equipment shows it now, but you saw it immediately." "Experience," Kim said simply. He guided his boat carefully along the edge of the spiral current, drawing closer to the struggling Nayari vessel. Navigator Tay's voice came over their radio. "Can you assist? Our systems cannot break free of this current pattern." "I can guide you out," Kim replied. "But you must follow exactly as I direct." There was a pause before Commander Zalon's voice responded. "We will follow your instructions." Kim explained the spiral nature of the current and how to ride its outer edge to escape. "Don't fight against it," he emphasized. "Move with it in a wide circle, gradually moving outward." The Nayari vessel began to adjust its position according to Kim's guidance. Slowly, it started to rise from the powerful downward pull. Park Sun watched Kim's boat through the viewport. "How does he know the exact path? Our sensors can barely map this current structure." As if hearing her question, Kim's voice came over the communication system. "The water here has memory. This current appears in the same pattern every spring, when the mountain snow melts and meets the warm ocean current. My grandfather showed me how to read it when I was a boy." Commander Zalon listened in silence as his ship slowly escaped the dangerous current. His colors had shifted from purple to a thoughtful blue. Once both vessels were clear of the danger, Kim's boat continued toward the finish line at White Rock Island. The Nayari ship followed, no longer pushing at maximum speed. They reached a section of the channel where the water seemed calm on the surface. The Nayari sensors showed no immediate threats. "We can overtake them here," Navigator Tay suggested, to Commander Zalon. "Our speed is superior." The commander hesitated. "What do the deep scans show?" "Nothing unusual. The seafloor is flat and the currents are stable." Commander Zylon noticed that Kim's boat was taking a strange path, moving in a wide curve rather than going straight through the calm section. Contact the human. Ask why he's taking that route. Park Sun sent the message. Kim's reply was simple. The silent stones lie beneath the calm water. They're closer to the surface today because of yesterday's tide. The Nayari quickly directed their sensors to scan deeper. At first they found nothing. Then, adjusting to a different frequency, they detected what the humans called the silent stones, a ridge of sharp rocks just 2 meters below the surface, perfectly hidden by the clear, calm water. If they had rushed through at high speed, they would have torn open the bottom of their vessel. Commander Zylon ordered his ship to follow Kim's path around the hidden danger. As they did, Park Sun approached him. "Commander, I've been analyzing the human's navigation methods," she said quietly. "He's not using any technology we can detect, yet he's aware of underwater features our best sensors struggle to identify." "Explain," the commander demanded. "I believe he's using what humans call traditional knowledge. Information passed down through generations combined with a lifetime of personal observation," Park Sun said. "His people have studied these waters for thousands of years, not with machines, but with their senses and memory." Commander Zylon considered this. "No species we've encountered before has shown this kind of adaptation without advanced technology. That may be why Earth is unique," Park Sun suggested. "These humans haven't conquered their oceans with technology. They've learned to understand them deeply through experience." As they approached White Rock Island, the final stretch of the challenge, the weather changed again. A thick fog rolled in, reducing visibility to less than 10 meters. The Nayari ship slowed dramatically. Their sensors could penetrate the fog, but showed confusing readings. The coastal waters around the island were a maze of shallow reefs and hidden currents. How will the human navigate this? Navigator Tay wondered aloud. On Kim's boat, Li Ji looked worried as the fog enveloped them. She checked her radar. "Dad, I can barely see the coastline on the equipment. We should slow down." To her surprise, Kim maintained their speed. "We don't need to see far ahead," he said calmly. "Listen." Li Ji fell silent. At first she heard nothing but the engine and the water against the hull. Then gradually she noticed other sounds, the way the waves broke on hidden rocks, the calls of seabirds that nested only in certain areas, even the subtle change in the engine's echo as the water depth changed. "You're navigating by sound," she realized. Kim smiled. "And smell. Taste the air. The island's pine trees have a scent that carries over water." Li Ji closed her eyes and breathed deeply. There it was, a faint scent of pine and soil. "When I was young, your grandfather would make me steer through fog with my eyes closed," Kim told her. "He said, 'The sea speaks. A fisherman must learn to listen.'" The Nayari ship remained close behind them, following their path through the fog. Park Sun watched the human boat with growing respect. "They're using sensory inputs we haven't even considered," she told Commander Zylon. "Sound patterns, scent traces, subtle water temperature changes that our crew can't detect." When they finally emerged from the fog, White Rock Island appeared before them. Kim's boat reached the finish line first, but only by a small margin. The challenge was over. As both vessels docked at the small pier on the island, crowds of people and news cameras waited. The story of the race had captured global attention. Commander Zylon approached Kim and his daughter on the dock. The Nayari leader's skin displayed complex patterns of blue and gold, colors of formal respect. "Kim Day," he said, his voice carrying to the assembled crowd. "You have demonstrated a mastery of your planet's waters that we did not believe possible, without advanced technology." Kim nodded simply. "The technology is here." He tapped his head. "And here." He placed a hand over his heart. "My ancestors gave it to me." Commander Zylon's colors shifted thoughtfully. "Among the Nayari we have a saying, 'To truly know water, one must become water.' Today I saw a human who understands this truth better than many Nayari." Park Sun stepped forward. "Commander, I request permission to study the human approach to ocean navigation. There is clearly much we can learn." The commander considered this. Then, surprising everyone, he bowed slightly to Kim, a gesture he had learned from studying human customs. The Nairi acknowledge your victory. As agreed, we will negotiate properly for any presence in Earth's waters. His colors shifted to show sincerity. And perhaps there is much we can learn from each other. Kim looked out at the ocean, then at the alien visitors, then at his daughter. The sea has no borders, he said simply. It belongs to all who respect it. As the sun began to set over White Rock Island, humans and Nairi stood together on the shore, looking out at the vast ocean that had brought them together, an ocean that still held secrets both species had yet to discover. 1 month after the challenge, Kim Dae sat in an unusual place, a large conference room in Seoul's newest building. Around him sat leaders from countries around the world. Across the table sat 7 Nairi, including Commander Zalon in science. Officer Park Sun Kim felt uncomfortable in his new suit. His daughter Lee Ji sat beside him, calmly taking notes on a tablet. "We are here to discuss the terms of cooperation between Earth and the Nairi," announced the Secretary General of the United Nations. "The challenge in the Myangol Channel has opened a new chapter in our relationship." Commander Zalon rose to speak. His skin displayed formal patterns of blue and gold. "The Nairi have conquered the oceans of 12 worlds," he began. "On each world we brought our technology and knowledge to master the waters." The room was quiet. Many humans shifted nervously, unsure where this speech was heading. "But Earth is different," Commander Zalon continued. "Here we have found that the waters are not simply waiting to be conquered. They are already understood, not through machines but through generations of human experience." He turned to Kim. "This human fisherman showed us something we have not seen on any other world. A deep connection to the ocean that no technology can replace." Kim remained silent, uncomfortable with the attention. Commander Zalon's colors shifted to green, a sign of new growth among the Nairi. "We propose not colonization, but partnership. The Nairi will share our technology. In exchange, we wish to learn from humans who truly understand Earth's waters." Murmurs of surprise filled the room. This was not what anyone had expected from the previously arrogant aliens. The Secretary General looked pleased. "This is a generous offer. What kind of technology do you propose to share?" Park Sun stepped forward with a small device that projected images into the air. "Clean energy drawn from ocean currents. Methods to remove pollution from water. Systems to predict dangerous storms with perfect accuracy." Lee Ji studied the projections with growing excitement. She whispered to her father, "Their technology could help solve many of our ocean problems." Kim nodded but looked thoughtful. "If used with respect," he whispered back. The meeting continued for hours as details were discussed. Eventually, the subject turned to how humans would share their knowledge with the Nairi. "We suggest creating a joint research program," a human scientist proposed. "Our universities can work with Nairi researchers." Park Sun looked at Kim. "With respect, we believe the most valuable knowledge is not found in your universities, but in the minds of those who have lived with the ocean for generations." All eyes turned to Kim. The old fisherman cleared his throat. "Books and computers are good," he said simply, "but to know the sea you must feel it, taste it, listen to it. The ocean speaks to those who learn its language." Lee Ji suddenly stood up. "I have a proposal," she said. "A program that combines scientific research with traditional knowledge. We can bring together fishermen, sailors, and indigenous coastal people from around the world to work directly with Nairi and human scientists." Commander Zalon's colors brightened. "This approach appeals to us. Science Officer Park Sun will lead our team." By the end of the day, the framework for the Earth-Nairi Ocean Partnership was established. As the meeting concluded, Kim was eager to return home. "I miss my boat," he told his daughter as they left the building. Lee Ji smiled. "You'll be back on the water soon, Dad. But now you'll have some new fishing companions." 3 months later, Kim's small fishing boat had some unusual passengers. Park's son and two other young Nayari scientists sat carefully on the worn wooden seats. They wore special moisture suits that kept their skin damp in the dry air. "Today, we will feel the tide change," Kim told them, "not with instruments but with our bodies." The Nayari looked confused but eager to learn. Since the partnership began, they had discovered that their understanding of water was theoretical, while humans like Kim had practical knowledge that no scanner could match. Kim guided his boat to a spot where two currents met. He cut the engine and let the boat drift. "Close your eyes," he instructed. "Put your hands in the water. Feel how the boat moves." The Nayari scientists did as he asked. At first, they felt nothing special. Then slowly, Park's son began to notice subtle patterns in how the boat rocked. There was a rhythm to it, a gentle push from the east, then a stronger pull from the south. "I feel it," she said, her skin rippling with excitement. "The currents have different personalities." Kim nodded approvingly. "The eastern current is always gentle. The southern one is strong but predictable. When they meet like this, they create a dance. If you know the steps, you can navigate even with your eyes closed." For hours, Kim taught the Nayari how to read the water without technology. By the end of the day, Park's son could identify 3 different currents by feel alone. As the sun began to set, they headed back to shore. In the harbor, a sleek Nayari vessel was docked next to the fishing boats. Once a week, it took Kim and other local fishermen far out to sea, to depths they could never reach in their own boats. "Tomorrow we go with your ship?" Kim asked Park's son. She nodded, her colors showing anticipation. "We will explore the deep trench. Your guidance has already helped us map areas our sensors struggled with." "The deep water has different moods," Kim told her. "The surface can be calm while storms rage below." Park's son's colors shifted to a respectful blue. "Before meeting you, we thought understanding water meant controlling it. Now we see that true mastery comes from listening to it." 1 year after the Nayari's arrival, Earth's oceans were changing. Nayari technology had helped clean polluted waters and predict dangerous storms. In return, human knowledge had helped the aliens understand Earth's complex ocean systems in ways their technology alone never could. On the anniversary of the challenge, a special ceremony was held on White Rock Island. Nayari and humans gathered to celebrate their partnership. Li Ji had become the director of the new Global Ocean Knowledge Center, where traditional wisdom and advanced science worked together. She addressed the crowd. "A year ago, 2 different approaches to understanding the ocean competed against each other," she said. "Today, we combine the best of both. The Nayari bring their technology and experience from other worlds. We bring our generations of living with Earth's waters." Commander Zalan spoke next. His colors now included green and blue patterns that showed his new connection to Earth. "On 12 other worlds, the Nayari conquered the oceans," he acknowledged. "But here we learned that true understanding comes not from conquest but from connection. This is a lesson we will take to all worlds we visit in the future." After the speeches, Kim stood at the edge of the pier with Park's son. They watched young Nayari and human children playing together in the shallow water. "You have changed how my people see oceans," Park's son told him. "Many Nayari now speak of water with respect, not as something to control." Kim smiled. "And your people have given us new ways to protect the sea we love." A small Nayari child approached Kim shyly. "Teacher Kim," she said in careful human language, "can you show us how to hear the tide changing?" Kim looked at the child, then at the group of eager young faces, both human and Nayari, waiting for him. "The tide is turning now," he said, kneeling down to their level. "Put your feet in the water, close your eyes. The ocean will tell you its story." The children did as he instructed, their faces serious with concentration. Slowly, smiles spread across their faces as they began to feel what Kim had taught them to notice. Park's son watched with satisfaction. Her research on human ocean knowledge had become the most requested data in the Nayari fleet. Other water worlds now asked for human teachers to help them understand their own oceans better. As the sun set over White Rock Island, Kim stood with his toes in the water teaching the next generation, both human and alien, to listen to the sea. The Nayari had come to conquer Earth's oceans, but instead had found something much more valuable, a new way of understanding water throughout the galaxy. Far out at sea, Nayari vessels and human boats moved together through the waves, no longer competitors but partners in exploration. Earth's oceans remained unconquered, but now they were better understood and more deeply respected than ever before. And it had all started with a fisherman who knew that to master the sea, you must first learn to listen to it.